Hi again, everybody. It's Victor from PlaybookSports.com. I am the over-under guy and also the author of the Playbook Totals Tip Sheet newsletter. It's the only newsletter in the country that's devoted exclusively to NFL over-under wagering. We've got a nice over-under free play for the Week 4 NFL schedule. Before I get into that, I've got about 3 or 4 minutes of an over-under review for the NFL season through the first 3 weeks, and this won't take too long. What we can tell you is it's been a very low scoring start to the NFL 2022 season. Now, it may not have shown up in terms of actual results last week because there was 8 overs and 8 unders in week 3 of the NFL. However, you got to look at the averages. The average over-under line last week was 45.3. Average combined points, only 40.6. The average margin was minus 4.7 points per game. In the first 3 weeks of the 2022 NFL season, the week 1 average was 42.1. The week 2 average was 43.5. And as I just mentioned, last week, only 40.6. Now, for comparison purposes, we'll let you know that last year in the NFL, the average points per game was 46.0. And 2 years ago, again, it was that highest scoring season of all time as the games went 49.6. So when we're talking about a 2022 season with games averaging only 42.1 points per game, we are definitely talking a very, very low average. Now, I touched on my previous pre-play for some of the reasons why the games have been low scoring. Another reason is I did the research on offensive plays per game. And again, as a starting point or a reference point, we'll let you know that over the last 15 years in the NFL, the average offensive plays per game is about 64 to 65. However, in this 2022 season, we're only seeing 62.3 offensive plays per game. So on average, we're seeing approximately 6 to 8 less total plays on offense than what we are used to seeing. So again, another reason why everything has been so low scoring in the NFL and why it's crucial to make sure you wager on a good amount of unders. With every over you wager on, you're going to need to wager on some of the unders. And in fact, in this week's issue of the Totals Tip Sheet newsletter, we have 3 over-under best bets. Guess what? All 3 of them are unders. But we'll carry on to our free play of the week. We're going to move to our Week 4 NFL schedule this particular weekend, and we're actually going to be going over the total in one of the games. And we're going to talk about the non-conference game at Lambeau Field between the Green Bay Packers and the New England Patriots at 4:25 Eastern. This is one of those weird games in the NFL where you got a team that's favored by a very, very high margin, and the over-under line is extremely low as well. The last time I looked, Green Bay was favored by 10.5 to 11, and the over-under line was a low 40.5 points. Now, Mark Lawrence and I just talked about this last week on the Against the Spread podcast, and a game that figures to be low scoring despite a high point spread usually means that we see that game going over the total. And that's where we're going in this particular game. Now, I realize New England will not be starting their starting quarterback. Mac Jones is out with a high ankle sprain. And, of course, that's the reason the Patriots also have the lowest implied team total of the entire Week 4 schedule. Their implied total is only 14.5 points. But with that said, I believe in the database, and the database tells me to always play the over in the situation. 46, 20, and 2 since 1990. So this is over a 30-year period. 46 overs, only 20 unders. That's 70% over the total. All NFC conference non-division, big home favorites of 10 or more, like the Packers, when the over-under line is a low 41 or less points. In the last 10 years alone, these games have gone a perfect 8-0 to the over with an average of 48.7 combined points per game. The database is telling us to play the Packers and Patriots over the total this week in that late afternoon game with the low over-under line. That's the way we'll be going. And don't forget to make your way to the playbooksports.com website. We'll have our first 5-star NFL best bet of the season going on Sunday. It's an over. You're not going to want to miss that. Again, check it out at playbooksports.com. As usual, keep fighting the good fight. We'll talk to you again next week, and have a great week 4.